What's up, guys? Welcome back. Day 4 of my 21 days blockchain challenge, blockchain fundamentals. Um, I'm gonna get right into it. Today, we're going to be talking about um, public and private keys. So, homework on public and private keys. We have 4 questions. So, question number 1: describe the concept of public and private keys with your own words. Well, I'll say public and private keys. These are just tools that you use to encrypt and decrypt messages. So yeah, in order for you to send a message to someone, you are going to use that person's public key to encrypt the message. So at the other hand, the person who has the correspondent private key can decrypt the message that was sent to the person. So that's just a general way of describing public and private keys. Question number 2: how is the private key used in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin? Um, well, in Bitcoin, this the keys in Bitcoin are just used to sign off the transactions. So yeah, you just use your public key to sign off transactions. Um, question number 3: how is the hmm. Question number 2: how is the private key used in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin? Well, I'll say the private key is used to sign off transactions in Bitcoin. And question number 3: how is the public key used in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin? I'll say here you use the keys. Here you use the public keys to receive transactions. Last question: what are the benefits of storing your own private keys when it comes to cryptocurrency? Well, it basically comes down to control. So if you store your own keys, you are the only person who has control over your funds. Um, let's say your keys are being let's say your funds are being stored in an exchange. Well, the exchange have a certain type of control over your funds. Like we also talked about this, everything is centralized, they can be hacked, so be careful with that. So those were the questions on public and private keys. Let's move forward. For the next set of questions, I'm gonna head over to the board because it's going to be inefficient for me to solve this math problems just by explaining it. So here we have homework on functions. See you in 3 seconds. So question number 1 on homework on functions. Describe what functions does in your own words. Well, I would say function just uses inputs to give out a certain output. So for example, you can have this the function. This could be the inputs. Let's say inputs. These are the inputs. Let's say input 1, input 2, and this can be one or several outputs. Let's just say this is one output. So what a function is going to do, it's going to use these inputs to provide a certain output. Okay, now question number 2, let's say calculate the output of the following functions. So I already mapped out the questions here. So the question says calculate the output of the following function. Fx is equal to if x to the second if x is even, or x plus 10 if x is odd. So here x is 2, so we're gonna do 2 to the second is equal to x, and x is gonna be equal to 4. So the correct answer for A, if x is 2, then it's going to be 4. So 7 is odd, so you're gonna replace x by 7, so you're gonna say 7 plus 10 is equals to x equals to 17. 0 to the second, because 0 is even, is equals to x is equal to 0. Okay, let me clear out the board for the next question. Question number 3, write the definition of a function f that takes an input x, divide it by 4, and then outputs that result subtracted by 5. Whew. Okay, so let's say 3. So they say write the definition of a function f that takes the input x. So f(x) is equal to, so we say the input x is divided by 4, and then the output should be subtracted by 5. So it's just going to be x, you use the x that is the input, divided by 4, and then this result, so whatever the result is, you're gonna minus 5 of the results. So I hope this is clear. If there are questions, you can just leave down some comments below. So this was on this was the homework on functions. It's not that hard actually, as long as the math complexity is on the minimum. Okay, for the next questions, the homework on hash functions. Actually, we don't need a board, so I'm going to set myself back to the couch in order for me to answer these questions. So for the final part of the homework today, homework on hash functions. So since we're with functions, let's dive into hash functions. First, there are three questions. The first question, describe hash functions with your own words. So I'll say hash functions, just like, okay, since we know functions uses inputs to give us some outputs, well, hash functions basically work the same way. The only difference, or the big difference here, is going to be that hash functions have different, like the inputs can be different, but the outputs, like the hashes that are called, the outputs are called hashes, it's always the same. So the length of the inputs can be short or long. It can have numbers, letters, and different other characters, and the output is always going to be the same. So also every output is unique to its input. So you normally cannot have, or it's almost impossible to have the same outputs, but you have like two different inputs. Like let's say, for example, 1 is equal to 1 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 0.5, let's say, and you do 1 plus 1 plus 2, 1 plus 1 plus 2 can never be equal to 0.5 because 0.5 is the hash of 1 plus 1 plus 1. So what is at this side, two different things at this side can never be the same, can never give you the same answer on the other side. Two inputs can never give you the same outputs. So next question, how are hash functions used in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin? So in Bitcoin, hash functions are used like for mining. So they just basically use the hash function to note down the transactions during the mining process. Question number 3, what does it mean when we say that hash functions need to be collision resistant? Well, is what I explained in question number 1. So it's difficult to spot two inputs that that outputs the same hash function. Not quite impossible, but it's very, very difficult. So like I said, you cannot have two different inputs and come up with the same output. It's practically impossible, but it's possible, but it's very, 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 very difficult. So those were my questions on homework on hash functions. That's it for today. See you tomorrow on the next video. This is Victor checking out. Yo.